It has been that time of year. We had the State of the Union, State of the State, State of the City. Now comes the State of the Region, which of course is the purview of the Detroit Regional Chamber. Very tricky time to figure out the highs and lows against a backdrop which is a bit like a funhouse mirror, only it isn't any fun. Let's talk about it with the CEO of the Detroit Regional Chamber. Sandy Baru is here. Entrepreneur Nicholas Rambus, whose latest venture is Hush, which is a tech security company. He's here as well, and so is Daniel Howe, senior editor and business columnist for the Detroit News. Sandy, I want to start by asking you about trying to assemble and interpret data at a time like this. I wouldn't want to try and figure out the average wind speed in Michigan in the middle of a tornado. And that's a little bit like what you're trying to do right now, isn't it?
Yeah, so it was a little bit like what my graduate professor in economics said, that sometimes there are outliers in data, but sometimes they're just out and outliers. And that's really what it was. I mean, it is a snapshot in time.
Yeah.
And you can look at this data through any number of lenses and paint an incredibly positive picture about where Michigan and our region is, or an incredibly negative picture using the same set of data. It's a little bit like one of those kaleidoscopes we had when we were kids.
Your two fellow people here at the round table both shaking your heads at both of those things. Yes, we can make this however we want. So let's start with what you thought, what was the most worrisome thing that you've come across, and what's the most promising thing you came across?
The most worrisome thing, and it's one of the three headlines out of here, is that our challenges prior to COVID are our challenges today. Educational attainment, workforce participation, those are our big challenges then, and they are now. The best thing, and that's another headline out of here, is that Michigan has withstood this economic challenge, this pandemic period, far better than A, we would have expected, and B, the rest of the nation. And we've never seen that in Michigan before. You know the old line about Michigan, when the rest of the country gets a cold, we get the flu. Not this time, buddy. We actually outperformed and did quite well. And the third headline is that the way consumers feel has nothing to do with how consumers are behaving.
Nicholas, as an entrepreneur, this is very much your business, trying to decide whether things feel positive or negative at a certain time. You were shaking your head at both him saying things went really well and there were some things that weren't as good. What are you seeing overall?
So much the same, right? We are excited about the ability to build a business here in Michigan, right? It's one of the things in the report it mentions that there's not enough entrepreneurial activity, right, in the region.
Yeah.
That said, in 2021, the numbers were good, right? I think it was top 20 or so in the country for new businesses that were started. We're part of that, so we're excited about what we see so far.
Where are your worry spots then as you try, though, to think about expanding and moving around?
Sure, talent. It's all about finding people, right?
Yeah.
That's the issue. Continues to be. Everyone I talk to is looking for the right people.
You know, apparently America's got talent, I hear. At least that's what NBC tells me, Daniel. But this has been the theme that I can't remember the last time we weren't talking about it.
And I think it really connects to what I think is coming. I've been spending a lot of time running our auto team and working on a lot of the electrification, the pivot to electrification. I'm not sure how well prepared we are for the transition. And I think that gets back to the talent. It gets back to educational attainment. And there was a lot of hand-wringing back last fall when Ford said they were going to make an $11.4 billion investment in electrification in Tennessee and in Kentucky, and not here.
Right.
GM is doing that now, but we have no guarantees and no claim that we're going to get more of that investment. We'll get some, but there's a lot percolating, and I don't know how well positioned we are for that. The other thing I would say, I had the same takeaway that Sandy did. It's so remarkable that this state went through one of the most incredible economic shocks of any of our lifetimes, and frankly, that its leading industries didn't run into some really serious difficulties.
Especially,
they managed their way through it.
And when we talk about chip shortages, what industry has been hit harder than the auto industry?
The auto industry is getting whacked harder than just about any industry. I mean, then you add the war in Ukraine. You've got a thing like neon. You didn't even know what neon was. Well, 50% of the neon comes out of Ukraine. And what do you need neon for? To etch semiconductors. So there may be and there's been the suppliers have hedged and they've got it. But if we're 6 months down the road and this thing hasn't calmed down, they're going to have more problems. So they're getting whacked continually.
Sandy, I'm really I'm a little lost in trying to figure out what the new normal is and what will eventually.
Welcome to our world.
Exactly right. So I see things like we've always used downtown retail as a kind of EKG when it comes to Detroit, and we know what a flat line looks like. It was that way for a long time. We've had some very high-profile retail closures now. Along Woodward Avenue, we've had some high-profile restaurant closures. And I'm thinking to myself, is that, like it always was, a sign of economic health? Or is that, toughen up, Buttercup, this is the world of people working from home? It's Amazon and it's Uber Eats.
Yeah. Well, certainly, you know, what we're seeing in closures, especially in cores, like it can be the Detroit core, you know, downtown Troy or any other urban area, you are seeing business closures because of just very that. I mean, people are staying home. I mean, in my office, in my building, you know, when I'm in the office, I can shoot a cannon down a lot of the halls, even today, and not hit anyone. But here's the thing. One, another sign for optimism is the incredible new business starts. Those numbers are off the charts. We've never seen them any higher. During the Great Recession, we were upside down in business births and deaths. We're seeing that. Restaurants, you mentioned restaurants. Those restaurants that closed, those entrepreneurs who started those restaurants are already starting their new ones. So I think we're in the middle of a churn, not in like a solid state flat line.
Nicholas, you were saying before we started here that you've got 20-some new employees. You've only met 2 of them face to face.
Right.
New reality, or is that gradually changing now as we come back out of our caves?
So it's gradually changing. We had our first day back in the office last week, right? So we are seeing people really want to get back to office, not 5 days a week. It's going to be 2 or 3. But even going downtown, right, we're beginning to see that kind of activity level where it's not, right, an entire ghost town in the office. There are people who want to get in.
But there's a lot of people who want to work at home now, right? And
oh yeah,
expectation.
They do, right? But they're beginning to come out. Given the weather, when we're going to see a lot more activity soon.
It's interesting. The younger people, I think, they like the flexibility. I certainly like the flexibility, but I spent a lot of time working out of my office at home for a lot of years. But we have reporters that have worked for us for 2 years that have never spent a day in the office. Ever. And I think the way we're going to work.
You're sure they're out there somewhere.
But I think that the point Sandy's making about restaurants and other businesses and what we're talking about the workspace they're all interrelated. I mean, we're working on a story right now on dry cleaners of all things. The expectation is that 30% of all dry cleaners are, if they haven't already shut down, they will shut down because there are fewer people that are dressed like this, need this kind of stuff. Yep. They're more often dressed like this. They've been dressing like this for 2 years, you know, and and our economy, it's going to play its way out in the economy.
Well, good riddance. The dry cleaner shrunk all my clothes.
This great, whatever you want to call it, the great resignation, the great reconsideration, whatever it is, it does tell us something that we've long suspected, especially about younger workers. They don't have the loyalty to their employers that I think employers over decades had grown to expect from their workers. That has huge implications.
Yeah, but loyalty is earned, and and what drives employee behavior has changed over the decades. I mean, Daniel and I are old enough, not you, Nicholas, that when we got the assignment from our bosses that you're moving to Nashville, we'd say, great, I've always wanted to move to Nashville. The next thing we do is we look at a map and say, where the hell is Nashville? I mean, new workers today aren't going to do that. So employers have to be really flexible. Today's young workers, they work hard, they're innovative, but they want to work on their terms. We as employers need to figure out what they want and make sure that we're providing that balance between what we as a business and our clients need and want and what our employers want.
And you have to trust them.
Yeah, exactly right.
And trust is earned. If in our business, if you're working remotely and you don't answer your phone and you don't answer your text and you don't answer an email, that's a real problem. But as long
really knows what you're up to.
But as long as you do, and I know you're there, and I know you can deliver, that's what matters. It's not where you're sitting. Because we've run a newsroom at the Detroit News, and we're not the only one. Everybody has done it remotely for 2 years and done a lot of really good work and had huge readership. But so we know how to do it.
But
people have to need
I'm very curious, Nicholas, about whether or not people have the same connect. You talked about, you're seeing everybody over Zoom. It's different, and it's you're not having the same conversations in the hallway or at a cubicle, wherever it might be. What are the implications for you?
Yeah, so what we're finding is people, as they advance their career, they want to get back to the office because they need that mentorship, right? To your point, you started your careers, you had someone looking after you, someone guiding you. Those folks don't have that, and so they're looking to come back as a result of that. Yeah, again, it won't be the 5 days a week, but they're looking for what we call ceremonies, right? When you come in and we have a company gathering or weekly coffee, something else which creates that connectivity and that human access, those are still needed, right? I'm not sure if you guys have those as well, but we find the young folks very much want it.
And what executives are looking for, and the reason reason why at least the smart ones want them back is not for efficiency, it's not for monitoring, it's for collaboration, it's for innovation, it's for driving some quality. Those are the things that have been a challenge during the Zoom.
Don't underestimate somebody like General Motors, which says it's 2 words: work appropriately. Make your own decisions.
Work appropriately. Yes. Terrific advice. Thanks. I would say you've got the glass 3/4 full right now for Detroit and the region, it sounds like that.
I'd rather be where we are today than a lot of other regions, right?
Makes great sense.